Donald Trump has revealed threatening Russia with new tariffs and sanctions is part of his plan to pressure Russia to end its war in Ukraine. Our North America Bureau Chief, Jade McMillan, is across it all. Hi, Jade. What is President Trump asking of Russia here?
Well, this has been one of the biggest questions facing Donald Trump's new administration. How will the newly returned president approach the conflict in Ukraine? He had claimed in the lead up to November's election that he could end this war within a day. That timeline has since shifted, and a couple of days into this second term, that obviously hasn't happened. But Donald Trump has said on social media today that this war is ridiculous. He has urged the Russian president, Vladimir Putin, to, quote, make a deal to bring it to an end, warning that if that doesn't happen soon, that Russia would be hit with further sanctions and tariffs. Now, the Biden administration had already imposed a raft of sanctions against Russia in response to the invasion. The US only imports really a very relatively small amount of Russian goods. So the practical impact of this threat isn't really clear. It's also still unclear what exactly Donald Trump means when he says that a deal needs to be made. What would that involve? And what kind of concessions would Ukraine be asked to make when it comes to territory or its bid for NATO membership, for example?
And Jade, lots of changing parts of this new administration. I'm trying to keep up with all the things that are being done overnight, but immigration obviously is going to be one of the key reforms and really one of the key human rights concerns as well. The Trump administration pushing ahead with reform today. What do we know?
Yeah, there's a lot happening in these first few days of the administration, Bridget. But as we heard in that very first speech that Donald Trump made after being sworn in, he wants to make immigration a really large focus. He signed an executive order within hours of being sworn in, suspending refugee admissions to the US. That was due to come into effect later this week, but it's now being reported that people who had been approved after a lengthy process to come to the United States, that their travel is already being cancelled. It also appears as though the US military presence along the border with Mexico is about to be stepped up, again, as flagged by the president in those first few hours. And the new administration is also directing prosecutors to pursue local and state officials who stand in the way of Donald Trump's immigration plans. That comes amid a pushback from some Democratic-led states and cities against what Donald Trump has promised will be the largest deportation program of undocumented migrants in the country's history.
And Jade, thank you.